After he stood up and took his ring off and almost tried to fight the Teamsters leader, Sean O'Brien, in a Senate committee hearing, Markwayne Mullin made the rounds and talked to Hannity about his perspective on the altercation. And Hannity also brought his perspective on the altercation because he was like, since when can we not settle things with fisticuffs?
All right, let's take it to the video of Markwayne Mullin and Sean Hannity talking about their schoolyard fighting days.
And you should have seen the fear of his eyes when I stood up too. I'm not joking. I'm not looking for a fight. I used to get paid to fight.
He did not look afraid. He did not look afraid. No.
Oh, you gotta go back. I was not expecting it to start like that. Oh my God!
He was terrified.
Too. He said he wanted to bring a mob mentality back to the Teamsters. Maybe that's true, but you still aren't going to run your mouth at me and expect me to just sit there. And you should have seen the fear of his eyes when I stood up too. I'm not joking. I'm not looking for a fight. I used to get paid to fight professionally. I'm not really looking for it, but I'm sure not going to sit back and let somebody do that and not call them out on it.
Well, let me tell you, I love these people on social media. I call them the keyboard warriors, usually in their basement, basement bunkers, in their underwear, and they're all tough on social media. Then you call them out on it, they're not so tough. It is interesting, though, when you think of the left today, if you use the wrong pronoun in school, boy, the left will absolutely lose it.
Right.
When I grew up, it was a little bit of a different time. When me and my friends, when we played football, when we played basketball, I played hockey, I don't think there was a single day that we were playing sports where we didn't drop the gloves or, have a brief interlude of, throwing fists and it'd be over, you pick up and you start playing again. When all of a sudden did we
look, I don't know if you guys...
We beat the shit out of each other every single day.
I played sports, whether it was football season or basketball, a little bit of baseball, but often it was football or basketball. I remember most of the fights that I had out of that. Like, it wasn't every single day. It was like, there's maybe a dozen times, and I remember calling one of my best friends basically a homophobic word that starts with C, compound word CS, and I really regret that to this day and feel bad about it. So yeah,
it's like a distinct memory, not these nebulous.
Exactly.
We fought every day. I can't remember the specifics.
Well, I had to look this up because he says he would get paid to professionally fight. Yeah. So I looked it up, and Markwayne Mullin claims to be a former MMA fighter. But I'm looking into this, and according to the details here, he fought in 3 fights. He did win all 3, but this is back in 2006 and 2007. His total fight time was less than 10 minutes, and he fought a total of less than 3 full rounds. And the organization he fought for was called XFL, Extreme Fighting League, and they
other
on
XFL.
Their own. On their own, not for the football one that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson now owns. This is a small Oklahoma-based MMA organization. They run apparently out of a casino in Oklahoma, and they call themselves an amateur MMA promotion for those who have less than a year of training experience.
Okay, so like street beefs. He fought with
truly street beefs, like literally the most amateurish outfit imaginable.
I mean, my son has taken Taekwondo longer than apparently Markwayne Mullin needed to, and my son's 8. Markwayne Mullin only needed to train for less than a year to fight in the Extreme Fight League. My son has been doing Taekwondo for much longer than that.
Binder's son would put Markwayne Mullin to sleep, I think.
I think you would.
Coquina clutch.
a brief interlude of, throwing fists and it'd be over, you pick up and you start playing again. When all of a sudden did we become that woke that the thought of 2 people, one responding to a threat directly saying, okay, you threatened me, here's your opportunity, take me up on it.
Yeah, well, it's political correctness. It's all of a sudden you got to worry about somebody's feelings, but oh, by the way, the left can say whatever they want. And it's not personal to me. I'm not mad at this guy. I mean, he said it. I'm just answering the call. That's it. If he wants to go out afterwards and have a cup of coffee, let's go have a cup of coffee. I'm friends with a lot of guys that I used to fight. I unfortunately, I grew up in the country of Oklahoma. You did the same thing that you did when you grew up, and you settled your issues and you went on with it, and there was no hard feelings by it. Well, a few times there's hard feelings, especially if you won, but if you lost, you just kind of took your lickings and you learned from it, right? And this guy, I just don't think that he was expecting me to answer the call. And we need more of this, to be quite frank. I'm not saying more violence, but we need more people to be taught a lesson and be called out on what they say. You got to be responsible for the words.
The way I read
why is he talking? Pause for a second. Why is he talking like something came out of that confrontation other than Markwayne Mullin looking like a fucking idiot? Like what's his name again? The Teamster?
Sean O'Brien.
Sean O'Brien. Yeah. He stood up. Like the video didn't catch it, but when it cuts back out, you could see him sitting back down. He stood up. He wasn't afraid of Markwayne Mullin. There was no lesson learned from Sean O'Brien. In fact, there's other clips of Sean O'Brien literally mocking other Republican senators who were nagging at him. Have you guys seen that clip?
That was Mullin. He was responding to Mullin talking.
Oh, he was. Yeah, I mean, there was no lesson. If anything, it fired him up even more. Yeah,
no. When Mullin has that, when O'Brien has a clip where he's like, what? Like, he's just goading him. He's literally just baiting him. He's just completely baiting him. Like, this guy's not an idiot.
There's no way if Markwayne Mullin thinks the rest of the world, or at least the vast majority of people in this country looked at that and didn't think he at least looked like a freaking dork, then I don't know where his mindset's at.
I also like that it was downgraded to coffee. It was like, we're going to actually fight in the halls of the Senate, and now we can just get coffee instead. That's fine.
Was there more to play?
Yeah, we did.
On what they say. You got to be responsible for the words.
The way I read his tweet to you is he called you out. He's the one that said he wanted this exchange, and all you were doing is saying, okay, tough guy, let's go.
That's right.
I think any other response kind of would have been a little gutless.
I would agree with that. I mean, what do people want me to do? If I didn't do that, people in Oklahoma would be pretty upset at me. That's not how we raise, and I'm supposed to represent Oklahoma values.
I think that actually is probably true, and I think people in Oklahoma, again, I'm going to predict that your approval ratings are probably going to go higher.
That's basically it.
I love the fact that he still thinks he came across like a tough guy when he basically sat back down because an 80-plus-year-old senator from Vermont told him to cut it off. Like Bernie told him to sit down. Bernie Sanders told him to sit down, and he just said okay, and he sat back down. And then Bernie Sanders told him to shut up and to act like a senator. And he was just like, he listened to it. I don't know why he keeps talking like he came across like a tough guy. And also, O'Brien was smart for telling him to stand up first, because if he stood up first, he would have looked like the one who was wrong. Markwayne Mullin fell for every single thing the entire way. He was goaded into looking like an idiot.
And just very briefly, Mullin, when he made the rounds on the news outlets, he was on Newsmax, he was on Fox. He also appeared on this Oklahoman named Kyle Thompson's podcast called Undaunted Life, a man's podcast. And in this brief clip, he also describes his fighting style. So I'll just put this up in 1 second.
Oh, we got his fighting style. What is it? Is it slap fighting or something? What do we got here? Let's listen.
Why you should train jiu-jitsu is because even if you lose a fight, you want to make sure the other guy will never want to fight you ever again, because it's kind of a win-win at that point. But we need to move from an almost
fight. By the way, I'm not afraid of biting. I will bite.
Biting?
Well, I mean, in a fight, I'm going to bite. I'll do anything. I mean, I'm not above it. And I don't care where I bite, by the way. It just is going to be a bite.
I'm not even going to ask any further questions on that. I think that basically speaks for itself.
This is obviously a well-trained MMA fighter who says they'll resort to biting. Dude obviously has lots of experience.
Anywhere on the body, he'll bite. It doesn't matter.
Body, yeah. He obviously has a lot of experience in real, legitimate MMA fighting. That he would do that. He would resort to biting in a fight.
I also like that was unprovoked by the podcast host. He was trying to segue, and he was like, "I would bite somebody." To be clear, Kyle, I would bite somebody.
Just really amazing. Oh my God. Well, just when you thought you've heard it all, you I mean, I thought the original with him standing up was bad, and then the Sean Hannity clip is even funnier, and then you present me with this.
You have to go all the way to Undaunted Life, a man's podcast for that.
Could you imagine if he bit that guy in the Senate? That would have been hilarious.
That would have been, actually, yeah.
I think Bernie should have let him fight.
It's disappointing that Bernie didn't. I would have loved to see.
Bernie denied us content. He won't come out against Israeli aggression. Like, he's really not,
One situation you want him to call ceasefire, the other time you want him to let the conflict continue. And
he's just wrong on every, yeah.
It's like he flips a coin.
It would have been funny because also I do think Markwayne Mullin's MMA fighting skills would show that they're around 20 years old and that he can't even do that. Right.
One of the only people he beat went like 1-11. So it's not as though he was facing like real high level talent.
Oh yeah, he fought the same guy twice too. So it's not like he defeated 3 separate people either. He defeated the same guy twice. I'm looking at his MMA history on SureDog right now. Are you looking at the same thing?
Yeah, no, I can't wait to find those fights online and watch them.
I hope they're online.
I can only imagine they place like the Oklahoma State Fair and there's just like pigs in the background and there's just like a bunch of like hay they're rolling around in. Markwayne's biting people.
Right. It's like when it's the like him claiming to be an MMA fighter is the equivalent of like for wrestling fans out there, you go to an autograph signing because they say Doink the Clown is going to be there, and you find out it's a guy who played Doink the Clown on the Indies 30 years after the original Doink the Clown died.
I just wonder.
You know what I'm talking about, Bradley?
Of course.
I just wonder if being bit by Markwayne is like being bit by like a vampire or a werewolf, and you get like a second first name. Like after he bites you, like you find your birth certificate just has a second first name on it.